everyone, today I have my hands on the DJI Mini 3 and we're going to be taking this drone out in the field to test it for both photo and video. I have a heap of sample footage to share with you all today, so let's get started. So we're at our first location. I'm going to put on my ND64 because it is an extremely bright day and we are at the beach right now, so I think I'm going to need that. So I'm going to go over here and take it off. So while I'm getting these ocean shots right here, I want to start talking about the camera and the image quality of the footage from this drone. The Mini 3 has a 12 megapixel 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. This drone has a single lens, which is the full frame equivalent of 24 millimeters with an 82.1 degree field of view, an aperture of f1.7, and it has a focus range of 1 meter to infinity. The aperture of this drone is fixed. You have no options to change it. We also have the same ISO range of 100 to 3200 in both photo and video. Even though this is a beginner-friendly and more affordable drone, it is really nice to see we have the option of filming in 4K. In 4K, you are able to film in 24, 25, or 30 FPS. In 2.7K and 1080p, you can also film in 48, 50, or 60 FPS. There are no options with file types or codecs. All files are MP4 H.264. We also have just our normal one-time zoom, which is what you see the majority of the time, and you can also choose to film or location scout in 2-time zoom, and here's the quality of both of them side by side. With the standard battery, you get up to 38 minutes of flight time, which is quite normal for DJI drones recently, but what really stands out to me is with the battery plus, you can keep this drone up in the air for up to 51 minutes, which is a crazy amount of time. I find I can get all the shots I need with 38 minutes, but the more time I have available up in the air, the more I want to experiment and try new things, which can help me capture interesting footage. I also really enjoy being able to have enough time to get photo and video in a single flight. One downside for me personally with this drone is we have no picture profile options. We can only film in DJI's normal color mode. On the Mini 3 Pro, you have the option to film in normal or D-Cine-like. D-Log, which you'll find in drones like the Mavic 3 and D-Cine-like, can be helpful for color grading your footage as you are able to push and pull your exposure and colors more in post. I was struggling a little with dynamic range since it was so bright and sunny during a couple of these beach shots. I had to choose whether to clip my highlights or crush my shadows. In situations like this is where having a picture profile option can be handy. Aside from that, in the majority of other scenarios I filmed, the normal color profile worked fine. I filmed in quite a few different locations and you can see the colors look very vibrant and true to life. The Mini 3 has the same 38 km/h wind resistance as the Mini 3 Pro. It was a pretty windy day with some strong gusts. My weather app was showing that we were getting up to 37 km/h gusts. I have to say the drone did a really great job at keeping steady in these conditions. I did get a few strong wind warnings pop up where the drone kept flying normally. A couple of times there were some very strong gusts that jolted the drone for a second, and there was one occasion where I couldn't fly against the wind. It was going diagonally, even though I wanted it to go straight. But for the most part, all the footage, even when it was a bit windier, looks smooth. We of course have true vertical mode in the Mini 3 as well, which I love for recording footage for social media, but most importantly to take photos. I find that a horizontal orientation doesn't always work for photo composition, so I really love having the option of shooting in vertical mode too, while still retaining the full 12 megapixels. You can control the Mini 3 with the new RC controller that came out with the Mini 3 Pro. This is a great controller and I use it with my Mavic 3s as well. Something I noticed is the footage on the controller looks a bit low res while flying the drone. This is due to the transmission quality being 720p. The Mini 3 Pro has a live view stream quality of up to 1080p, which I prefer as I can see the details in my shots a little better and easier. However, this obviously doesn't affect the quality of the onboard recording. So I like some of the shortcuts that the controller has. The C1 button automatically switches your camera angle to 90 degrees so you can quickly get a top-down shot in both photo and video. I have the C2 button, which changes the orientation from horizontal to vertical, which is super handy as well. Again, both photo and video. And this button here takes a photo. So I like that when you press this button, it shows you where it's focusing first and then it takes an image. So I have the drone set to RAW plus JPEG, and I'm going to take a couple of photos here and in the other locations that we're going to be filming at as well. But right now, let's jump into Lightroom and take a closer look at these photo files. So here are some of the raw photos that I've taken with the Mini 3. With our 12 megapixel sensor, you can see we're getting 4000 by 3000 pixel files, which I personally think is more than enough to post online. So here we have the JPEG that's straight out of the drone, and this is the raw version. So as you can see in the JPEG, our blacks are quite crushed and our highlights are very blown out here in the waves. So with the raw file, I'm just going to balance that out to see how much of this we can recover. So I'm going to bring down the highlights, and as you can see, we can pretty much recover the entire wave, which is really nice to see. So if I were to edit this image properly, I would probably just bring up the shadows, bring down the blacks to add some contrast, also increase the contrast. And I also want to increase the vibrance and the saturation here. And then down here in HSL, I also want to decrease the saturation of the greens because I do want blues to be the main color of this photo. So here is the before and here is the after. So as you can see, we do have plenty of information in the tones and the colors to work with the raw image. I thought this rock structure is so cool, so I really wanted to get a photo of it. And just for these last few images, I'm going to apply my Amalfi Lightroom preset pack. And these are the presets that I normally use for my portrait and landscape photography, which also work on DJI RAW photo files as well. I think this one's probably my favorite. I'm going to bring down the highlights just a little for the waves here. This is the before and this is the after. So I do think a little downside of this drone is that it doesn't have any sensors. It only has the sensors on the bottom for it to land. So if I fly it just here towards this bush, I'm going to do it very carefully. It at no point will tell me that it's too close to something. So you do have to be a little bit careful when you're flying this. So first we had the Mini 3 Pro that was launched, and if you don't need some of the features that this drone has, then you do have the more affordable option now of the Mini 3, but I thought it would be interesting to fly both these drones up in the air and get some comparison shots. Just looking at these two, they look pretty much the exact same size and shape. One of the main differences I'm seeing is that they've added these nice little legs on the Mini 3, which is really handy. I feel like the Mini 3 Pro is kind of hard to put down on some surfaces, so the legs on the new Mini 3 make that a little bit easier. The colors look a bit more vibrant on the Pro, and the footage looks smoother too. The Mini 3 footage looks sharper to me, but because of that, there is some extra noise, but overall, I think it looks decent in comparison. If you like to color grade your footage, the Mini 3 Pro does include D-Cine-like. The Pro has a 48 megapixel photo option if you are focusing more on photography or you want to print your photos, though, like I mentioned, the 12 megapixels of the Mini 3 is enough if you're taking photos for yourself or to post to Instagram. The Pro version also has tracking included where you can follow a subject around, and the obstacle avoidance sensors too, which the Mini 3 is missing. We also have 5 quick shots with this drone as well, so I'm going to try all of them with Dan and I just as the subject. We have droney, rocket, circle, helix, and boomerang, so I'll show you an example of all of them. Since there is a lot of changing light, all these shots here are with automatic camera settings. I think this is a good drone for someone who is looking to film or shoot footage and have it ready to go to post to social media without having to edit. It's small and convenient to take with you on road trips, hikes, or overseas on holidays, which I love about the Mini series, but you can still film good quality footage in 4K, and I do really love the photo quality in RAW. The only thing missing for me in this drone is the obstacle avoidance sensors. It would make sense to have the sensors in a beginner-friendly drone. So that is all I have for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this hands-on review of the DJI Mini 3. Let me know what you think of the drone and of my video down in the comments below, because I love hearing your feedback. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye!